Hello guys. Today, well actually yesterday, my nerd friend group decided to start creating countries in the lunchroom. So these videos, right, are documentation of the story that is happening in real time. So today, 2 days have passed since we started doing this. So not much has happened, but I wanted to get out what happened. And the first country that was made was actually over in Greece. Now this was my friend's country and not mine. And they obviously, went over here in this area. And yeah. Now that was the first nation that formed. They expanded around their area, right? Well then, later on in that day, me and my table also formed a union. Select nation. They have to do this, even though is in fact a new nation. And we started over in Canada. Over in this area. But, obviously this was a lunchroom, so this is just like estimates. If the lunchroom was a map, we would be around this area, so that's just what we went with. Technically speaking, these people would be down here, but since they're literally called Mount Olympus, we decided on not doing that. Okay, so these are the mainlands of the two empires, the Northwestern Communist Republic, aka the NCR, and Mount Olympus. However, we also had colonies. Now, because all of this is, like, all the land is based on where people are, the colonies, quote unquote, are just where people in the empire sat. So, for instance, Mount Olympus actually started with a person. Guess where? Over at our table, or over in our continent, if we're going based off of the map. So, I'm just gonna have that be represented with them having this area right here. Yeah. And on top of that, they did not have any more colonies. However, because I'm the minister of the NCR, we had a couple colonies. We had one all the way over here. I'm just gonna have us be over here because it doesn't to be fully. It doesn't make too much sense, but just stretch your imagination. We'll just say we'll take all of this. And then we had one more colony. But I actually don't know relatively where they are. I'm just going to put them I don't know. Oh, I think they're down like here or something. So I'm going to put them. We have a colony over in Siberia, and we have a colony in the Panama Canal. which allows us to get there. So we'll just say they're like over here. So yeah, so far there have been, 2 nations. However, at one point, guess what happens? You made your guess? Well, a split happens in Mount Olympus. A pro-communist micronation forms called, wait, shoot, what was it called? Communist. Communists of Coolville. Coolville. I don't know. And today, 2 people form over here. Let's say. Form over here. Now these people will presumably become very important in the next episode. I don't know though, because, it hasn't happened yet. And now one more event happens in this episode, this part of the series. We see the NCR and the COC create an alliance. A secretive alliance. So these people, which these people came from, have an alliance with them. Which, I don't know if you know this, right? But in the beginnings of civilization, for some reason, even when people have all this land to explore and settle, people will always fight over the little land they control. So, I don't know if that's foreshadowing, because I haven't done it. So, this is the end of the video, like, stuff happened-wise, but now I will go over the governments of the different places. So, basically, the government over here is obviously communist, right? But, as you see the name, it's also a republic. And it's interesting about this, right? In, the Soviet Union, it's called the USSR because it's the Soviet People's it's something, but it's like People's Republic. Now, in those cases, it's not really actually a republic, but in this case, it actually is a republic. So how their governmental system works is there is a inner court and an outer court. All the people of the outer court vote on the 3 ministers for the inner court. Ministers being the Minister of Diplomacy and War, the Minister of the Treasury, and the Minister of Peace. And these 3 ministers hold most of the power, right? These people can also, like, hire people, to do, like, lawmaking and stuff like that, if the task becomes too, heavy. But the outer court, which is just normal citizens, votes on people to be in the inner court, right? And on top of this, the inner court holds all the power, like, directly, but if the outer court decides that they don't think that they should be able to do that, they can actually veto them. And also they have a congressional districts system, so each of these different little provinces each get one vote, because there's only one person in it, in, the real life, but, in this, it's just population-based or whatever. This has, 3, I want to say, votes, because the one you get automatically, and then it has 6 members from the party, so that's an extra 3, so it would be 4 votes. This place gets 4 votes, right? So that's for vetoing and for voting on ministers. So overall, this is the most important province, yeah. And then, as I don't, I'm not part of the Mount Olympus, I don't know their politics as well, but, basically, they have, basically everyone at their table, is a secretary of a certain thing, which they just, like, choose. I don't know if there's a vote or anything. Yeah, and so I guess it's basically an oligarchy. They have not written their constitution yet in this, but I mean, it's kind of doesn't matter. And then these people have also not written a constitution or, like, law thing yet, but they are currently doing so. So yeah, that's a basic overview of the politics of this. Bye.